Hello, I'm Joan Childs, and thank you for watching my second video in a series of 10 on inner child work. My first video last week was on the history of how I became acquainted with John Bradshaw and the inner child work, and I have been using it since my affiliation with him since 1989. Although he's passed, his work lives on. John created a mission and started with the recovering population, but it became part of the mainstream, and it's probably the most effective, the most powerful therapeutic modality that I have ever used and still use, even though I've added much to it since John and I got together in 1989. Inner child work is basically working through wounds, childhood wounds and shame that was perpetrated on us as children when we were vulnerable and very innocent, unable to protect ourselves, and very impressionable. And most of it came from dysfunctional families, because really all families are dysfunctional from a greater or lesser degree. The thing that was missing from so many of us was a secure attachment. And because of that, we ended up with an addictive culture in substance abuse, in relationships, in behaviors, compulsive behaviors that were very self-destructive and caused us lives that were not productive, not creative, and we fell through the cracks of hell and trying to cope with not having a secure attachment. So I thought that I might bring you some information, and this being the second one in a series of 10, I want to talk about John's transformational model that he created, and I was lucky enough or fortunate enough to be able to bring him to South Florida. This is back in 1989. Much has changed since then. Like everything, we've added more modalities to it, but the basic modalities of inner child work that he did was the transformation model, which was in 4 parts. The first was to modify the behavior. So if you were acting out with alcohol or drugs, you had to stop it, or any kind of compulsive behavior. And you'd have to go into a treatment center to be able to become detoxified, and then learn different ways of managing your life and cleaning up the mess that you brought into your adult life, unwittingly, unknowingly, and certainly not your fault, and you didn't deserve it. So a lot of it came from poor parenting, really parents that were not capable of raising children, who had their own issues. And we can't blame them, because if we blame them, we have to go back to their parenting, who raised them all the way back. And the further we get back in history, the worse it really was. So we want to talk about how we can fix it, because that's the most important thing. So the model that John created, the transformational model, had 4 distinctive parts. First, as I said, modify the behavior, because if you don't modify the behavior, if you don't stop drinking and stop drugging and break some of the patterns that have been destructive and addictive, you can't really get through inner child work. So the first, of course, is to modify your behavior. The second part is original pain work, and that's when you go back and you give back the shame that was perpetrated upon you as an innocent child, and that you didn't really know that it affected all parts of you, your soulful content, your emotional being, your physical being, and really the way you developed into adulthood, the choices you made, and the worst part, the relationships you chose that were very destructive, and actually a repetition compulsion, the need to repeat the past, as Freud taught us, and Alice Miller talked about it as the art of absurdity. So I wanted to create a program where I can at least teach you what this is all about. So after you do the original pain work, which is the main experiential work, which deals with neurolinguistic programming, EMDR, hypnosis, different parts of us that we really need to get in touch with, because we're not monolithic. We have different parts that we need to know and accept and embrace, even the dark side of us. And then we have to learn how to get rid of the pain and the anger, the sadness, the guilt, the shame, and really try to discharge that in a way, whether it's physical or whether it's mental. There are so many avenues and so many possibilities of getting rid of it, and we have to clean it up in order for you to be healthy. And that's what I do, and I've been doing it since 1989, inner child work. The third part of it is cognitive behavioral therapy. And these are ways cognitively, in other words, in your conscious mind, that we can teach you different ways to help yourself, different patterns to get involved in, such as journaling and taking a negative thought and transferring it into a positive thought, giving yourself self-affirmations, getting a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy, getting enough sleep, trying to maintain connections, a whole bunch of things. I've just named a few out of many, many more because I'm limited with the time I have on the video. And then the fourth and the last is spirituality, because we really can't embrace and really become the person that we're meant to be if we don't have a spiritual part of us, a connection, which means in AA they call it a higher power, and that could be your religion, your God as you know God, the oak tree in the back of your house, but something that's higher than you, to develop some faith, hope, and a belief that you are worthy of a better life, and that you are a good person, and that you do matter. And the only person that can give this to you is yourself. And this is what Inner Child does. Inner Child work goes back to early childhood memories that may be repressed or may be remembered, and we give to the child in us what we were denied as children. So it's very powerful, and it's very thorough. It goes to the inner parts of our soul, that can deep into our brain, where we can make new neural pathways, because the brain has a lot of plasticity and it can change. It takes a lot of courage to do this. It takes determination. It takes money. It takes time. There's a big investment, but I can tell you that what you invest in it's yourself, is the best investment you'll ever make in your life. So stay tuned every week and watch the new video. The next one will be video 3 or part 3 on inner child work. And in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. Thanks for watching.